Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The topic for this week is solar power plant, and in solar power plant we use solar energy for electricity purpose. Here is solar energy. Basically, solar energy is the radiant light and heat from the sun that is harnessed using different technologies like solar heating, photovoltaic, solar thermal energy, and artificial photosynthesis. Also, solar energy is a renewable energy source. Solar power plant. In solar power plant, solar energy is used for generation of electricity. Also, solar power plant is based on the conversion of sunlight into electricity by two ways. One is direct method and other is indirect method. Direct method is also called photovoltaic and indirect method is called thermal power plant. Photovoltaic power plant. Photovoltaic convert light into electric current using the photoelectric effect. And then basically photoelectric effect is a phenomena in which electrically charged particles are released from or within a material when it absorbs electromagnetic radiations. You can see in this figure this is a metal, and when light strike on this metal, electrons are released. This is basically a photoelectric effect. The radiant energy may be infrared, visible, ultraviolet light, X-rays or gamma rays, and the material may be solid, liquid or gas. And released particles may be ions as well as electrons, and ions are basically electrically charged atoms or molecules. Components of photovoltaic power plant. Components of solar panel, controller, battery, inverters. First is batteries. Batteries are used for the storage of energy. If we direct use to any load, it works, but there will be no work in night or a cloudy day. So batteries are used for this. The next one is solar panel. This is the main parts of photovoltaic power plant. Solar panels used to convert the solar energy into electrical energy. Solar panel is made up of solar cell or small photovoltaic cell. Solar cells are made up of semiconductor materials, and also silicon is the best semiconductor. Solar cell made up of p-type and n-type silicon semiconductors. These p-type and n-type semiconductor together form the diode. When sunlight strike on the surface, so the working starts. You can see here is a positive electrode and a negative electrode. So due to the flow of electrons, the electric current is produced. The next one is controller. Charge controller is a one type of voltage controller to charge the batteries and keep away cell from overcharging. And the last one is inverters. It is used to convert the DC supply into AC supply as per need of applications. uh, Here is the working of photovoltaic power plant. You can see this is the solar panels. The solar radiations from sun strike on the surface of the solar panels. As solar panel is made up of p-type and n-type uh, semiconductor materials. So due to the flow of electrons, electric current is produced in the solar panels. So the electric current flow towards the charge controllers. Charge controllers are also voltage controller that charge the batteries and also prevent away from overcharging. So this is the DC power. Sometimes we need AC power. So for this purpose, inverter is used. As most electrical equipments based on AC powers. The second method is solar thermal power plant. Solar thermal power plant, also called concentrated solar power plants. It uses lenses or mirror and tracking system to focus a large area of sunlight into a small beam. Uh, Solar thermal power plant is a combination of solar energy and thermal energy. Solar energy is converted into heat or thermal energy, which further used as mechanical energy to operate the turbine and generator. Based upon the power cycle, there may be a low, medium, and high temperature cycle. In low temperature cycle, temperature is limited up to 100 degree centigrade, and in medium temperature cycles, temperature is limited between 150 to 300 degrees centigrade, and in high temperature cycle, temperature may go above 300 degrees centigrade. Here are the different components of solar thermal power plants: solar plant, solar energy collectors, working fluid, evaporator boiler, turbine and generator, condenser and cooling. The first components of solar collectors. Basically, solar collectors are the device used for the collecting the solar radiation to transfer the heat energy into solar plants or fluid. Solar collectors are two types: flat plate collectors and parabolic concentrated collectors. You can see this is a flat plate and this is a parabolic. The flat plate collectors, the radiation energy of falls on a flat surface coated with a black paint having high absorbing capacity. Heat is transferred from the absorber plate to water, which is circulated in the tubes through the flat plate collectors. Thermal insulation is provided behind the absorber plate to prevent heat losses. So this is the parabolic collectors. They are of reflecting type utilizing mirror. And the reflecting surface may be a parabolic mirror. The solar energy falling on the collector surface is reflected and focused along a line where absorber tube is located. So the next one is solar pond. The solar energy coming from the sun first absorbed by the solar ponds. Solar ponds is a reservoir of water where sun rays directly focus by using solar energy collectors. Also, solar energy increase the internal energy and raise the temperature of solar ponds. The fluid from the solar ponds goes into the cyclic process. Mostly the water is used as a working fluid. Also, other working fluids are also used. The next one is evaporator boilers. In this device, working fluids kept and gain latent heat of vaporization from the sun radiation or by solar ponds. Working fluid is circulating through the cycle by evaporating boilers. The working fluid. It is the fluid used in the cyclic operations. Both water and other working fluid are used. Mostly use working fluid which gains energy from the solar ponds and evaporate easily, or having evaporation temperature less as compared to water. So mostly other working fluids are used rather than water. Mostly brine or some organic fluids are used for this purpose. Turbine and generator. Uh, Working fluid goes through the cyclic operation, run the turbine which is connected to the generator. Generator generate electricity which is transferred to the required locations. The next one is condenser and the cooling tower. After turbine, working fluid goes into the condenser. Condenser and the cooling tower condense the working fluid and send back to the evaporator boiler with the help of pump. Here is the working of solar thermal power plant. Basically, it consists of two loops. One loop consists of solar pumps, solar energy collectors, and the other loop consists of turbines, condenser, cooling tower. Both loops are connected through evaporator boilers. So the solar ponds basically contain the reservoir of water or working fluids. Sometimes the working fluids gain direct energy from the solar light or sometimes through the solar ponds. As the solar radiation strike on the surface of the solar collectors, so the working fluid gain heat and the temperature of the working fluid increase and flow in the tube. In the evaporator boilers, the high temperature working fluid transfer heat to the low temperature working fluids. So the vapors form. These vapors are further used to run the turbines. Turbine is also connected with the generator to produce electricity. So also in turbines, expansion process is used due to the uh, expansion called cooling. So the working fluids go into the condenser. Condenser is basically a heat exchanger. So the heat is transferred to the water coming from the cooling tower, and the working fluids become cooled and go through again in the evaporator boiler. So this is the whole cycle of solar thermal power plants. Here is the applications: solar engine for water pumping, solar water heaters, solar cookers, solar furnaces, photovoltaic conversion means solar cells, solar power generation. Here is the advantages of solar power plants. Power plants work on solar energy which is available in abundance on the earth's surface at most of the places. Solar energy is available at free of cost. Solar power is also available at free of cost after some initial cost. The energy produced is renewable energy with negligible cost. Quantity of water used in solar power plants is very less as compared to other power plants. So we can say that solar power plants save lots of energy. As we discussed in the principles, working principle, water is mostly used just as a working fluid. Sun is essentially an infinite source of energy. So it is renewable source of energy and is freely available all over the world. It is environmental friendly and has no pollution effect on the. Here is the disadvantages. The major drawback is the availability of the sun. Sun radiations of desired intensity is not available whole day. Solar energy is a time-dependent source of energy. We cannot rely on solar energy completely. Intensity of sun radiations varies according to weather. For example, in rainy season, solar energy is not available because of clouds. Sunlight falls on Earth's surface in variable and inconsistent manners. For collecting the sun radiations at useful rate, large areas are required. Initial setup cost for photovoltaic cells is quite high. Solar energy is not available at night or during cloudy or rainy days. Thank you. This is all about the solar thermal power plants.